Good afternoon, Laurie. How are you today?
Fine, thank you, Peter. How are you?
I am fantastic. It's Monday and it is nearly Christmas. I am fantastic. So, Laurie, welcome to the Business Spotlight. Thank you very much for taking the time to be with me today. Could you tell me a little about yourself and your organization, please?
Yes, Peter, I would love to do that, and thank you for having me. Today, I'm here as the founder director of JoinHer Network. And JoinHer Network is all about all things diverse. We're talking about inclusion, we're talking about equity and equality. So I think us in a nutshell is finding other organizations and individuals who resonate with those values and also want to be progressive in how they run and do business, because the world has become a global market. And I think it's so important that we're able to reflect this in our staff and how we run our businesses in general. So we're passionate about that. I'm passionate about that. I think in my own life, diversity is a very key function for me. So I'm quite delighted to be able to share this alongside my colleagues, and we've built a business from it. So that's JoinHer Network in a nutshell.
And I'm gonna say I'm detecting a little bit of Northern Ireland accent, a little bit of American. So tell me how to put together the puzzle for me, please. Well, tell me a little about yourself and your background.
Sure. Well, I suppose my background, I was born in Zimbabwe and I moved across to the US because I went to Penn State University. I would have done a lot of traveling, and I suppose my corporate experience comes from an American context. Would have worked and done a lot of things across the world, pretty much from an American base, and then moved across to London, and subsequently moved to Northern Ireland. And here I am today. What is the expression? I blew in here nearly 18 years ago.
Yeah, and we love that expression in Northern Ireland. I live in Bangor, and I'm a blow-in to Bangor from Belfast. So yeah, we're both blow-in.
Exactly.
And tell me, Laurie, is there any particular business leader that inspires you? That's all.
I have so many. This was a tricky one to try and nail it down, but I suppose the one who resonates with me a lot when I look at who she is and what she does is, probably Oprah Winfrey for me, because alongside the Maya Angelos and other subsequent individuals out there, she resonates what it's like to come from nothing, literally build yourself up from the bootstraps, so to speak, and to be that innovative, to work through, to learn, to study, to develop, and to become who she is today. I'm sure that story in itself is a lot. So for me, I take a lot of inspiration from her, especially on the days when I'm challenged. I think that's when I would draw on her wisdom quite a bit.
Well, she could certainly teach me a lot about doing interviews, I'm sure.
Well, she's good for those.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Laurie, what would you say is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
The best piece of advice I was ever given was trust your gut instinct. I was kind of in my early days of trialing out this entrepreneur idea. And I think one of the mentors I had, and a lot of people who were around me, always said, trust your gut. And I thought, okay, what is this about trusting your gut? And I think you know yourself when you get those butterflies in your stomach because you're actually nervous, or you've got butterflies in your stomach because you're excited at the prospect of something. And I think for me, trusting your gut, there's a lot that you know about yourself, and sometimes we second guess ourselves, especially when a challenge or something new as a venture is coming up. But trust yourself. You're the best person at determining the outcomes, even if it doesn't look so clear from the onset.
Yeah, it's a great piece of advice. Whenever anybody mentions a gut instinct or that sort of thing, I always think of the saying, "If there's any doubt, there is no doubt." I remember I've used that one along the years. So, Laurie, tell me, who's the first person that comes into your mind when you think about the word success?
Well, it has to be the double act of my mom and dad. my first entrepreneur teachers was watching them. So I think I'm a chip off the old block when it comes to the two of them combined. Singularly, I think they're dynamite, but you put them together, I think they're a winning combination of that yin and yang, I guess, to just do that so well. So for me, growing up, and whenever you had to ask for money or you want to do something, I was doing business plans before I even understood what they were, because you were asked who, what, where, when, and how. without even realizing it as a child. And if you answered those questions confidently, you were more likely to be sponsored or endorsed on whatever you're looking for. So those two individuals, I hold them right up there as responsible for my success model.
And what would you say are your three strongest qualities as a business owner?
Communication, because I've realized, having worked in a corporate American setting and having individuals who are global who I was doing business with, you had to communicate really well. You have to be specific, precise, because there's so much that gets lost in translation. So you really have to communicate well. So communication is important. Networking. I thank America for the background in networking. Networking is the bread and butter of doing business. If you talk to people and find out information, it's not just about getting the business card and the number and the social media, it's connecting with people. And I think when you can connect with people and you resonate with them, that's what makes networking such a game changer. So I love the idea of networking. And then another thing is innovation. I think one of the things the professor always said in my business class was, don't be afraid to go and be different, because different sells. So that stuck with me my whole life. And whenever I'm looking at what can I do that is different and how can I be different, I like that idea of being innovative. I mean, look at us today. How many of us are on social media? How many of us dare to even try TikTok? But we're getting away with it. You know, we just have to give it a go and you'll find your own flow. So those are the three top things I would say.
And tell me, who would be the ideal customer for the JoinHer Network?
Well, I think, as I've so rightfully said, we're looking at people who innovation is at the core, people who are progressive, people who like diversity and it's all its various forms, colors, shapes, etc. Individuals who are happy to have conversations, people who resonate with our values, which is diversity, inclusion, equity, and equality, and also having those relationships where you can build partnerships and find out what works well for you and who we can play to our strengths, of course. And I think the ideal customer for us is somebody who's open-minded, who's willing to try something different, who loves to have communication as a core. And I think that's the ideal candidate and customer and individual who would suit us really nicely.
And Laurie, tell me, what does the JoinHer Network look like in 5 years' time? Was that 2027? Sounds more like a time than a year, but what does it look like in 5 years' time?
Well, you know what they say about if you have dreams and they're not nightmares, they're not scary enough. So I think from a JoinHer perspective, global sensation is the word that comes to mind. So I think that's a nightmare, a mega nightmare. So that's what we're going for, to be a global sensation. That is something that everyone from every culture, from every background, as long as you're on planet Earth, you can resonate with that with us. So that's what we're hoping to achieve in the next 5 years.
Brilliant, brilliant. I've written that one down. So I'll make sure I remember that.
I guess now I'll be held to making sure that everybody's watching that space.
Laurie, do you have a favorite book or podcast that has influenced you or that you'd like to share?
Well, I think a lot of people have come across her. Brené Brown, The Daring Greatly, and she has quite a lot within that series. I loved that book. Alongside, now it's not one, there's two, and there's quite a lot. So this is a hard question, Peter, because you're asking me to shortlist my favorite authors and books.
Sorry, I'm going to my inner Oprah here at this point in time, okay?
And another one I must admit that I've enjoyed over the years is John Maxwell's 360-degree leader. That one is really good because it's about leadership, not in a singular tunnel vision perspective, but almost from a bird's eye perspective, which gives you that 360-degree ability to look at things. So those would be, I know you said one, but this is a hard one. Two, I tried.
It's Christmas. Yeah, it's Christmas. Yeah, you can afford them.
Thank you.
What would you say, what's the biggest challenge that you're currently facing in your organization, Laurie?
Well, I listen to the word challenge, but for me, challenge and language is a big thing for us. I look at challenge and I will reverse it and call it opportunity. So for us in JoinHer Network, it's finding the right opportunity that comes in and fits onto the priority list. So for us, I guess the challenge would be, how do we make a short list of all the things we love doing and making sure that we can deliver on all of them just as well? So I think that would be our challenge, to develop within that area, to have a priority list, and also make sure that our finances can balance out the request and the expectation. So it's all of those things combined together, hopefully making a good opportunity for us.
That sounds fascinating. Sounds fascinating. And look, if anybody wanted to reach out and find out more about you and your organization, and wanted to hitch a ride on the Express, the global sensation, what would be the best? What would be the best way for them to go about that, please, Laurie?
Well, we're on all the social media handles, and I think we've got a lot of exciting events scheduled for 2023. I think our first one is International Women's Day. That's normally in March. So we've already got some information out. So the 3rd of March, that's the first one. Then a little further down the line, we're looking into May, where we have Africa Day and other things that we celebrate, especially from being a descendant, obviously, from the African continent. And then we also have a conference that we're wanting to do this June. And then we have another Black History Expo in St. George's Market again in October. And I'll be nice and leave the rest for a wonderful surprise when people come and figure out what we're up to next.
Fantastic, fantastic. Laurie Gatsi-Barnett from the JoinHer Network, thank you very much for sharing your story and joining me today on the Business Spotlight. It's been really cool hearing from you. So thanks again, and have a wonderful end to 2022. A happy, peaceful Christmas, and I wish you all the success for 2023.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been interesting being in the spotlight. So I kind of feel like my halo is super shiny at this point. So thank you for that. And you have a wonderful Christmas too. And we'll definitely be seeing you in 2020.